everyone. So today I am going to be showing you my March TBR. For those of you who don't know what TBR is, TBR is to be read. It means that this video is going to be all about the books that I want to read in March. So one of the things that I've been trying to implement in my reading life in 2020 is to read more diversely. And what that means is that I want to expand my horizon. So I normally read fantasy, and I think I am still going to be reading young adult fantasy. I definitely am going to be reading young adult fantasy, but I think that young adult is really the genre that I'm in right now, and it's not that I'm not comfortable with adult books. I just enjoy reading young adult books, and that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. But I do want to implement more young adult contemporary books and young adult historical fiction. If you don't know what contemporary books are, contemporary is a book that's set in the modern world, in the modern times, and also it doesn't feature fantastical elements, so it can happen in anybody's life. That's a contemporary. So for contemporary, the book that I want to read is American Royals by Catherine McGee. I'm not too sure on the specifics of this book, but what I do know is that it is basically if George Washington ended up being appointed as king instead of president, this follows his descendants to, I think, the princesses. Yeah, I think it's about 2 princesses, and I really love books about royalty. I find them fascinating, so I am really hoping that I like this book. I actually really like the cover too. So yeah, that's the first book I'm hoping to read in March. So the next book is my historical fiction novel. So historical fiction is, as the title would suggest, it's fiction that's set in a historical time period, which could be in the 60s, it could be in the 1400s. There's so many different aspects of historical fiction, but the one that I'm going to be reading is Olivia Twist by Lori Langdon. So Olivia Twist is a retelling of Oliver Twist. Now, I've never read Oliver Twist. I don't really even know what it's about, other than he's a famous character, Oliver Twist. Let me know if I should read Oliver Twist, if you would recommend it. When I read the concept that it's a gender-bent Oliver Twist, I was intrigued, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. So yeah, really excited to read it. But again, I have no idea I've never read Oliver Twist, so I have nothing to compare it to. So if I do end up liking it, it's purely on because I like this story. So moving on to the books that don't fit, I mean, I guess they all fit into a category in the sense of they're probably all fantasy, but they don't fit into a new implementation. So the next book that I want to read in the month of March is Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I have read all of the Throne of Glass books except for this one. I've never read this one. I do love all the Throne of Glass books, and I am really interested to read this one. So if you don't know, this is a collection of novellas that are prequels to Throne of Glass. And people have said that this kind of fills in a lot of the gaps and a lot of people said that you should read this one. I don't know yet because I haven't read it, but I am excited to see the stories and have a little more understanding on maybe some of the things that went over my head because I hadn't read this. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I don't know if I'm going to read it all in one sitting. I think I might take it slow, and I don't know how many stories. I think there's 5 stories in here. I think I might take it slow and like maybe every week or when I want to read one of the stories. So the next book that I have on my TBR is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I hope I'm saying that name right. So this one is an interesting one because when I initially heard about this book, I kind of had no interest in reading it. It wasn't up my alley. I just didn't have any interest in reading it. But as time went on and I saw how people received it, how people were liking it, I thought maybe I should read it. Maybe I'm missing out. And I know Books with Chloe really likes it, and honestly I trust her opinion on it. I know it has to do with magic and things. I mean, I guess this all summarizes it. So on the back it says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise." That's an amazing tagline. I honestly just don't know what it is. I know There's magic in it, and I think there's blood magic in it. I could be completely wrong, but I'm excited to read it. Okay, so the next book that I want to read in March is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices series. So I've read The Mortal Instruments, and I've read the first 2 books of The Dark Artifices, but I have never read these, and I know I'm gonna get yelled at in the comments because I've never read this, but I haven't read The Infernal Devices. I've heard that it's really good, and I've had it, and I really want to start it. I just haven't had the chance to, so I am super, super excited to start reading it. Everybody loves it, and I think I will really love it as well. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I do love it as much as everybody else. I know, the one thing that I do know about it is that it follows 3 characters. So it follows Tessa Gray, Will Herondale, and Jem Carstairs, and that it's set in 1800s London. And kind of honestly, 1800s London sounds amazing. So I'm really excited to read this. So the last and final book that I have is actually a sequel. So it is The Iron Flower by Laurie Forrest. I read the first book, The Black Witch, in I think summer of 2019, and I really liked it, but I hadn't gotten this one to read. So I'm really excited for this. I wanted to read it last month, I just didn't get to it, but the 3rd book, The Shadow one I think is what it's called, is coming out in June, late June I believe. And I really wanted to read this so that I could read the other one. So yeah, so this is about witches. It's compared to as Harry Potter, but for a girl. So the girl main character would be compared to Harry Potter. I don't know really how to explain what this is about without spoiling the other one, but basically the first one is about this girl named Ellen Gardner, and her grandmother is the Black Witch, and she, for her, they're people, the Gardnerians. I'm totally butchering how to say that, but I think it's the Gardnerians. They were enslaved by, I can't remember who. I honestly can't remember. But anyway, they were enslaved, and she led the rebellion and the rising, and was able to overcome that. But now that they are free, and they've been free for hundreds of years, they, instead of being humble and gracious and not inflicting the same pain that they had on others, they are doing that. And I think it really does bring, the story does bring to light how one's family doesn't necessarily affect who one is, and that it shouldn't. So yeah, I like it for all the things that are brought up, and it was actually a really interesting story. And it's a brick. It's like 600 pages, but it was like I flew through the 600 pages. It wasn't hard to read. So I'm really excited to read The Iron Flower. It's, again, 600 pages, something like that. Yeah, it's over 640 pages. But I'm really hoping that I'll be able to fly through it like I did The Black Witch. So those are all the books that I want to read in March. If you've read any of these, I would love to know what you think. Please no spoilers, because I don't like to be spoiled for books. But yeah, if you haven't read any of these books, I'd love to talk to you in the comments below. Please give this video a like, and if you're here for the first time and like what you see, subscribe please. Bye!